Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here, back again with another video. So today's video is basically what it boils down to for the Los Angeles Chargers. I've done several videos about the Chargers offseason, things they needed to do. I've done videos about things that they have done, all the improvements that the Chargers have made, all the improvements that Tom Telesco has made, just this offseason, all of the draft, potential draft picks, everything. But this video is probably the most important one, and it is regarding the head coach, Brandon Staley, and whether or not there's pressure on him. Now, typically for a second-year head coach, finished 9-8 last year, so he finished above 500. He was the only new head coach to finish with a winning record last year. So typically in a situation like this, there's not a lot of pressure. You kind of shook the cobwebs off. As far as being a baby head coach, there aren't too many head coaches who are just brand new, and end up finishing with winning records. But this situation is different. This case is different. And if you're a Charger fan, you understand that this is different. All of it is different. So Brandon Staley has a lot on his plate this year. And he does have a lot of pressure on him. Now, Brandon Staley's a smart guy. He's shown that he's a smart guy. He's one of the newer coaches who really understands the game of football all the way down to the numbers. Very analytically driven. The decisions that he makes are normally analytically driven, and just to get the best edge that you can. Now, with all of the improvements that the Chargers have made, all of the improvements of the defense, all of the overall improvements of the team, the pressure is on Brandon Staley to win. And I felt like I don't want to say that he's on the hot seat, because he's not. Just in reality, he's not on the hot seat. And I don't think that, barring a just, ridiculously underachieving season, I don't think that his job is, up for grabs or anything like that. But the pressure really is on, because the Chargers have done what they needed to do. Tom Telesco, like him or not, he's done what he's needed to do this offseason to improve this team. And not to just improve the team, but to improve the team in areas that, called for improving. Tom Telesco has done it. Tom Telesco has really, put in, a honest day's work, if you want to speak, so to speak, if you want to say that. He's put in an honest day's work, and he's really, made the most of all of the, free agent opportunities this offseason. Now, there's still a draft coming up. He's going to have to, try to, maximize his offseason by, nailing the draft. And, even in the later rounds, he's going to have to try to find some value picks. Now, all of this is, like they say, Tom Telesco is going shopping for the groceries, obviously with input from Brandon Staley, who is the coach. But it's up to Brandon Staley to make a meal out of this. And he is going to have to change up some of his, not necessarily his coaching philosophies, but he's going to have to evolve a little bit as a coach. The Chargers are too talented of a team for him to coach the same way that he coached last year. Now, all the going forward on fourth down and all that stuff, a lot of that is going to have to, come to a screeching halt. And I know it's exciting, and it's good TV, and it's entertaining, and it gets, talked about on social media a lot. But, for a winning team, for a team with a chance, a very, very good chance to get into the Super Bowl, a team with as talented of a quarterback as you have, and now a team that has improved vastly on the defensive side of the ball, Brandon Staley is going to have to approach this as more of a traditional coach, more of a conventional type of coach. Now he can still do his analytic stuff, and that's fine. But he's going to have to make these adjustments. You're going to have to punt the ball, right? You're going to have to kick field goals. You're going to have to take the points. you can't go for it every single time, right? You cannot, and the going for it in your own territory, your own 20, your own 30, and all that stuff is gonna have to kind of stop too. You can mix it in every now and then, but it's a little bit too bold, and it comes off as too arrogant, and it comes off as very, very arrogant outside of the building, right? And just looking at perception and all that stuff, you really don't want to come off as arrogant, especially in your second season. He came off a little bit as arrogant in his first season. He doesn't really want that reputation. It's not going to serve him well. If anything happens, it's not going to serve him well in trying to get another job. It's just not going to serve him well. So he's going to have to adjust a little bit. And he's going to have to adjust to this team. He's going to have to adjust to the pace that this team is going to be at. He's going to have to give it a little bit of time for this to come together. There's a lot of new pieces. There are some new coaches as well. So he's going to have to give things time to come together. But the pressure is on Brandon Staley, and he's going to have to. He is going to have to coach this team up as best as he can, because this season, it really is the opportunity of a lifetime. And there are a bunch of coaches right now in the league. There's a bunch of coaches who are unemployed, who would kill to have this opportunity. This is the opportunity of a lifetime. You got your star quarterback on a rookie contract. Justin Herbert is potentially the best quarterback in the AFC West, but his salary is by far the lowest. Every other quarterback is making well over $30 million a year. And I think Justin Herbert's cap hit is going to be like $6 million this year. So now is the time for the Chargers to maximize everything. And now is the time for Brandon Staley to really, really put his stamp on this team and really, kind of make this team in his image. A smart team, a team that's very, very detail oriented, and a team that is, very tough and competitive. That's going to go out and compete at the highest level every single Sunday. And I think that's what needs to happen in order for the Chargers to have a lot of success. I also think that Brandon Staley needs to take a step back a little bit and be a better overall head coach. And by that, I mean, he does call plays, or he did call plays last season, defensive plays. I think he's going to have to step back. I think he's going to have to give the reins over to his defensive coordinator. Ronaldo Hill is the defensive coordinator. I think Staley should give the play calling duties up. Now, obviously, he can, he's got the headset on, and he can make whatever changes, make whatever adjustments. He can have the final call and all that stuff, but I think he should give up that play calling duty. That way he can be more balanced of a head coach. Kind of run it like a CEO, kind of run it the way that a Nick Saban does, or, any of the coaches who are not on, particularly one side of the ball. They are managing the game from a head coaching standpoint. They're managing, the timeout situation. They're managing, field position, things like that. They're not just necessarily focused on one side of the ball. So I think Brandon Staley needs to give up some play calling duties. And I also think he needs to get a little bit more involved offensively as well too. The Chargers put up great stats last year offensively. But if you're a Charger fan, if you watch all the games, you know that there were times that the Chargers struggled. And a lot of it had to do with play calling. There were some games where the Chargers looked explosive. The game that I attended last year was against the Browns. The Chargers were just throwing up points like crazy. I think they scored like 47 points or something in that game. Just going down the field and just airing it out. Herbert just, running, throwing, doing everything offensively. And then you have the games, like the game at Denver, where the Chargers couldn't do anything offensively. They're running 3-yard outs, 4-yard outs. You're not taking advantage of the superstar quarterback that you have who can make every single throw. Nobody's going down the field. You're not stretching the defense out, anyway. You're not stretching them vertically or horizontally. So there are times where the offense can be feast or famine. And I think Brandon Staley, being a former quarterback, he knows. He knows this offense, and he knows exactly what, he knows exactly what, not just the play calling, but he knows exactly what needs to be done as far as offensive philosophies, right? Getting back into games, right? If the offense is struggling, for a little bit, he knows exactly what to do. He knows what buttons to push in order to get the offense going right, in order to get them back, on a good track, picking up the first downs, then eventually, getting into the red zone and trying to score and things like that. But I think Brandon Staley needs to do a better job of becoming a better overall head coach. And he's a smart guy. He's a smart guy. He's very reflective. He's very honest and candid in all of his press conferences and stuff. So I think he is going to become a better head coach. I think some of the veteran players that the Chargers acquired, I think they're going to help him become a better head coach as well too. These guys have come from situations. They've come from the couple Rams players coming from Super Bowl winning team last year. They're going to help him develop into a better head coach. I think the last year was just one of those things. You have a lot of talent. You have a super talented quarterback. You got every brand new offense, brand new defense, a lot of holdovers from the last team. So, I think that there was, things started out pretty well and all that stuff, but there was that showing that they lacked a little bit of continuity. You can tell that they haven't been together as long as other teams have. So I think, you can probably get rid of that this year. The team is going to be pretty much used to Brandon Staley. They're going to be used to what to do defensively in certain situations. Same thing offensively as well too. And hopefully the special teams are better as well too. That was one of the coaching changes that was made immediately after the season. So but yeah, Brandon Staley, this season is going to determine I think how Charger fans and how the NFL fans just as a whole view him. Because right now he's just the smart, cocky guy, and nobody really knows anything else besides that. They've seen some of the good performances last year, some of the bad performances last year, and I think overall just in the general consensus, people really are on the fence about him, and rightfully so. He's only coached in 17 games. And people don't know really what to expect from him, but I do believe that he will get everything together this year. I think he will make everything work, and I think he's going to learn from some of the mistakes he made last year. It's very, very evident that there were some mistakes made coaching wise last year, and I think he is a guy, like I said, he's a smart guy, but he can own up to it as well too. He's not a guy who's just gonna pass blame around or whatever. He knows that the buck stops with him, so he can take responsibility for it. And I have heard him take responsibility for it in different interviews and whatnot. But this is gonna be a very interesting season for the Chargers. I can't wait. I'm very excited. I just hope that Brandon Staley, I hope that he is, through everything, all of the motivational stuff, all of the stuff that you see him, getting players ready to go and stuff. I hope that he just creates an environment of looseness. I hope this team is loose. There are expectations this year, so hopefully that does not hinder anybody's development. Hopefully the team just continues to go out there, play loose, don't press, don't try to do too much. They're a talented team. Things are going to come together. I expect there to be a little bit of turbulence at first in the beginning of the season, but I think that things are going to come together. There's so much talent, and guys are the guys that the Chargers did bring in. They're high character guys. They're team first guys, and that is definitely a plus. When you have a young team that's trying to get over that hump. So, I expect big things from the Chargers this year. I expect big things from Brandon Staley this year. And I expect him to be, right in the middle of that Coach of the Year award, towards the end of the season. So, but yeah, man, this is squarely on Brandon Staley's shoulders. None of the other stuff matters. Free agency doesn't matter. The draft doesn't matter. All of the personnel moves, all of that stuff doesn't matter if Brandon Staley does not coach his team up the way that they need to be coached in order for them to reach the next level. So I think that's an important thing that if you're a Charger fan, you can't forget about that. Brandon Staley is the guy who is leading this team, and he ultimately is responsible for what goes on, and he will ultimately be responsible for the result and the outcome of this year. So whether that's good or bad, he's going to be responsible for it. So I think it's one of those things. He's unproven, to some degree. So I think that there is some mystery there, but he's got all of the traits to be a really, really great coach in the National Football League. So I am looking forward to this season. I'm looking forward to the strides that he's going to make as a coach. And I'm looking forward to guys getting better under his tutelage, and just continuing to play well, and continuing to put the Chargers in a great spot. Hopefully to make a Super Bowl, and hopefully to win the Super Bowl. So, but yeah, man, that's all I got for this one. I just thought it was important to put everything in perspective. We talk so much about moves, just personnel moves. This guy, that guy, who's coming, who might come to the Chargers, who might get traded here, who might, whatever. But all of it comes down to coaching. All of it comes down to this guy, Brandon Staley. All of it comes down to that. So, and nothing moves until, this guy says, and, nothing, the Chargers can't do anything until, he becomes the guy that we need him to become as Charger fans. So, that's pretty much all I got for this video, guys. If you do enjoy the content, please give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Definitely have more content coming out soon. More content as the draft is approaching. And but yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this one. Thank you guys so much for the support. And until next time, I will see you later.